The new acting director of the Secret Service is set to answer questions from lawmakers about the assassination attempt on former President Trump. And McDonald's reports its first sales decline in more than 3 years. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Tuesday, July 30th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. Happening today, the new head of the Secret Service will be on Capitol Hill testifying over the assassination attempt on former President Trump, as security questions remain to be answered. It comes 1 week after the former Secret Service director's testimony that led her to step down from the position. According to excerpts of Ronald Rowe's testimony reviewed by news outlets in advance, the new acting director is expected to tell lawmakers what he saw in Butler, Pennsylvania made him ashamed, and that he cannot defend why the roof where the gunman opened fire was not secured. Today's hearing comes as newly released police text messages show that officers were aware of the gunman, Thomas Crooks, at least 105 minutes before he opened fire. That's more than half an hour earlier than previously known. The local SWAT team also says they never spoke to Secret Service until after the assassination attempt. We're also learning Trump will sit down with the FBI on Thursday for what's called a victim's interview, which is typical in investigations where Trump will describe what he saw and experienced. It's been 17 days since the Republican presidential nominee nearly lost his life at that rally. And while Congress will look to learn about security lapses in today's testimony, there's long-term efforts to obtain answers too, including the newly launched House panel, which will also have subpoena power. While all eyes are on the presidential election, control of Congress is also up for grabs in November. There are still some high-profile primary races taking place in several states this week. Voters in Arizona heading to the polls today, and Tennessee holding its primary on Thursday. Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who switched from being a Democrat to an independent earlier this year, is not running for re-election. So there are new candidates for that open Senate seat, a highly sought-after one with the majority hanging in the balance this November. The top Democratic candidate is Ruben Gallego, currently a congressman, which means his House seat is up for grabs, along with several other House seats. And on the Republican side of the Senate race in Arizona, it's former TV anchor Carrie Lake leading over her opponent. In Tennessee, it's a controversial figure, House Representative Andy Ogles, facing a challenge and potentially close race. Ogles secured a major endorsement from former President Trump ahead of Thursday's primary. In case you missed it, President Joe Biden has laid out his plan to reform the Supreme Court. His proposal includes establishing term limits for the 9 justices and creating an ethics code. The ethics code proposal comes after a review of the justices' undisclosed personal and business dealings, namely those of conservatives Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. It also comes in the wake of some controversial rulings, like the 2022 decision overturning Roe v. Wade and last month's ruling on presidential immunity. Now, President Biden is also suggesting a constitutional amendment to change that.
And most recently and most shockingly, the Supreme Court established in Trump versus the United States a dangerous precedent. They ruled, as you know, that the President of the United States has immunity for potential crimes he may have committed while in office. Immunity. This nation was founded on the principle there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. And for all practical purposes, the court's decision almost certainly means that the president can violate their oath, flout our laws, and face no consequences. This decision is a total affront to the basic expectations we have for those who wield the power in this nation, that they are expected to be wholly accountable under the law.
The amendment is unlikely to become a reality. It would first have to be passed by 2/3 of the House and Senate, which is improbable given the Republican majority. Then it would also have to be ratified by 3/4 of U.S. states. California's Park Fire has now grown into the 6th largest wildfire in the state's history. According to CAL FIRE, it's now scorched more than 370,000 acres across 4 counties and is still only 12% contained. It's forced thousands to abandon their homes and contributed to poor air quality from coast to coast. Authorities say the fire started when a man pushed a burning car into a dry ravine. He was officially indicted on arson charges yesterday. McDonald's is reconsidering its pricing strategy after the fast food giant reported its first sales slump since 2020 in the second quarter. Experts say budget-conscious Americans are eating at home more often due to higher prices at fast food chains. This summer, McDonald's released a $5 meal promotion to drive more foot traffic, though competitors have also launched similar deals. McDonald's CEO says customers can expect more discounts in an effort to bring more people in and stop the sales decline. Here's something you don't see every day, thankfully. A swarm of dragonflies overtook a Rhode Island beach. Local media said the beachgoers reported the insects descending all of a sudden like a, quote, black cloud, forcing some to pack up and leave. Even though it looks like a scene from a horror movie, experts say this is actually a normal occurrence as dragonflies are starting their annual migration south. Finally this morning, an update from the Summer Games in Paris. Olympic officials postponing this morning's men's triathlon race after they say the Seine River remains contaminated with levels of E. coli too high for the swimming portion of the competition. The event is now tentatively scheduled for Wednesday. Meanwhile, on Monday, the big story for Team USA was not about gold medals, but bronze. The U.S. men's gymnastics team earning the first Olympic team medal in the sport for America in 16 years. Team USA's Asher Hong, Paul Judah, Brody Malone, Steven Naderoshik, and Frederick Richard topping Great Britain for the 3rd spot on the podium. Japan taking the gold and China winning silver. The last time the U.S. men's gymnastics team won a team medal was at the 2008 Beijing Games. And these are your top stories for this Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.